Call to order the 35th regular meeting of the Medford City Council, November 9th, 2021. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Okay, Councilor Bears,
Present.
Councilor Falco.
Present.
Vice President Knight,
Present.
Councilor Marks.
Present.
Councilor Morel.
Present.
Councilor Scarpelli.
Here.
President Carviallo.
Yeah.
7,
7 in the affirmative.
yes.
0 present, 0 absent. Will you all please rise and salute the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thirty-fifth regular meeting of the Medford City Council, broadcast live on Channel 22 Comcast and Channel 43 Verizon. The meeting will take place in the Alden Council chambers and will also be available on Zoom. If you participate remotely outside of Zoom, please contact the city clerk's office. Motions, orders, and resolutions. 21610, authored by President Carviallo. Be it resolved, the Medford City Council commend and congratulate Chief Frank Gilberti for 23 years as chief and 39 years in the fire department on his upcoming retirement. Councilor Carviallo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as you all know, Chief Gilberti will be retiring at the end of the month here, and I just wanted to recognize him for his 26 years of being the chief of the city of Medford and 39 years with our fire department. And I also like to recognize that the mayor has appointed John Freeman as our new chief, and I want to welcome him as the new chief. But I just want to talk about the chief for a few minutes. Again, he's been a dedicated employee for almost 40 years. He's overseen fire department that said, we've had building concerns and everything, and through some difficult times here, and I want to commend him for his work that he's done over the years. And I think he's done his best to try to keep the buildings up as the best he could with the budget that he had. So I just wanted to commend him for that. And I'd like to maybe have him come here maybe next week to receive a citation from our city council.
Chair recognizes Councilor Marks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank President Carviallo for putting this on the agenda. We all know this day was coming, Mr. President. Chief Gilberti served as chief for, as was mentioned, 26 years. He led the fire department through some good and bad times, Mr. President. My only hope was that we could be talking about a brand new fire headquarters and revitalized fire stations throughout the community. Unfortunately, that is not the case, Mr. President. So I'd like to thank Chief Gilberti for his many years of dedicated service to the residents of this community and the property of this community, and congratulate Deputy Chief John Friedman, Mr. President, who, in my opinion, will do a tremendous job in that role. He is well-liked by his colleagues, Mr. President. He is someone that really fights for his fellow firefighters. And I know he's interested, like the rest of us, about moving forward with getting a new headquarters, revamping our stations, and also, Mr. President, getting the training tower, which was promised to our firefighters back several years ago. So thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Councilor Falco.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank President Carviallo for bringing this forward tonight. I also want to thank Chief Gilberti for his many years of service and commitment to our community. Wish him well in his retirement. And also congratulate Deputy Chief Freeman on his new position, his new role, and wish him well. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilor Scarpelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President, for bringing this forward. Chief has been a rock here in the community for so many years, and now I can publicly say my dream is to, when I grow up, is to be like Chief Gilberti. I'm hoping to get hair plugs, lose some weight, and go to the tanning beds and and we could say this publicly now, can we please get the new chief, Friedman? I know Chief Gilberti had his city vehicle, which had right in the side, if you look really close, it said fire chief. So I want to get a nice big sign so everybody knows who our fire chief is. No, but seriously, we appreciate all the hard work he's done. I know it's not easy. You know, you can't make everybody happy 100% of the time. And I think Chief had that balance to make sure that his department worked for the best interests of our community, and we appreciate that. So thank you.
Chair recognizes Council Morel.
Thank you, Vice President. And I just want to echo my colleagues. I obviously didn't have the pleasure to work alongside the chief as long as everyone else did, but I thank him for his decades of service to the city, the residents, his firefighters. I think, you know, in the short time I have had been able to work with him, and whether it's meetings here or at events, he's always welcoming, kind, and available. And that's really just an asset to everyone in the city. And I also echo my council colleagues in congratulating Deputy Chief Friedman on his elevation.
Chair recognizes Council Bears.
Thank you, Mr. President. Similar to Council Morel, I think, working with Chief Gilberti these past 2 years, he's been incredibly open, communicative, trying to let us know the needs of the department within the constraints that, any department head is under. But I think even more than that, the chief has been the chief more than 80% of my life.
And you're still here?
And I'm
Did a great
still
job.
here. He's still here. And I'll always remember we had a weird electrical fire in one of our walls, and always remember the fire department coming down this quick, very promptly getting it addressed, saving our home from what I'm sure would have been a disaster. And I, can't say enough about everything that our fire department does to keep our community safe. So I think that's a testament to the chief and to Deputy Chief Friedman. And I look forward to working with Deputy Chief Friedman when he becomes the chief. Thank you.
Excellent. If I may, from the chair, Chief Gilberti has become someone I've grown to admire. I've always been very impressed with the way that he's handled the budget. And I think that in his retirement, he should hold classes for the current department heads on how to answer questions at a budget session. Chief Gilberti, I think, has the most direct responses out of any of our department heads here in the community. 3 words or less, usually. Most of his answers are yes, no, maybe, I don't know. He's been great. He's been great to work with. And, he's going to be sorely missed. He brings a lot of institutional knowledge to the table. His expertise in finance and in firefighting is something that's unparalleled. And I do wish him the best of luck in his retirement here in Massachusetts and down in sunny Florida. And I also know with great faith that the city of Medford's in good hands with John Friedman behind the helm. So with that being said, on the motion of Councilor Carviallo, seconded by,
Second.
as amended by Councilor Carviallo, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Chair waits a motion. Motion by Councilor Bears to take papers in the hands of the clerk. Second by Councilor Carviallo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Under suspension, in council, November 9th, 2021, council paper 21615, offered by Councilor Carviallo. Be it resolved, the Medford City Council receive an answer regarding the paving of South Street and Prescott Street. Councilor Carviallo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as you know, we've been struggling with this Eversource project for, I think we're going on 4 or 5 years now, and with the paving. So I think many of us have been, I think we went a little bit dodging the manhole covers all over Mystic Ave. We got that paved. Now we're still dodging manhole covers on South Street. The neighbors have received a letter that this street was supposed to have been paved a month ago. As of today, there's still no paving. And I think, as we all know, as the weather gets colder, the asphalt plants will be closing down soon. So are we going to wait until the asphalt plant closes down and we buy asphalt of some serious standard just the kind they use to do patchwork, or is this gonna get done in a reasonable amount of time? Again, we have one of the neighbors here, that lives on South Street, and they say these neighbors have been promised this for going on a while now. Say they're a month overdue. Would you like? Okay, well, I'll say, again, we'd like to get an update in, when this paving is gonna get done on South Street. Never mind, and if you go over to Prescott Street, they've dug up the streets over there with trenches, and they didn't even patch them. They filled them in with dirt. Again, we're gonna wait till the plant closes, and we're gonna be using the winter mix that is good, that lasts about a month, and then it's gone again. I mean, there's not even anybody down there working anymore on Prescott Street. In fact, I had to call the engineer last week because during all that rain, there was a hole that you can drive, your car fell into. So again, these are projects this Eversource project is never going to end. Ever. I mean, it's just going, and you say, now that, I mean, they're still digging in front of the police station now every night. And you're seeing plates and plates. And now that, now we're getting the complaints from the neighbors as the plates have moved down on that end now. Again, I say, I would think at some point we need to get Eversource in here and figure out where they're going. I mean, then they're going a couple of feet a day. This project isn't going anywhere. We're probably another 2 years away from this project getting done. So I would make a motion that we have a committee of the whole meeting with the Eversource officials, whether it be, I think it's Robin Collins, she's the project manager, to get somebody in here at a committee of the whole to discuss where the project's going and have the engineer reach out to the people doing the work on Prescott Street by the school. And have the engineer reach out to the people doing the work on Prescott Street by the school. And have the engineer reach out to people.
Get your hand out of his back, Zach.
Sounded better the second time.
So I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
So it was, what's the corporation? Is that McKay that's down there in Prescott?
I don't know.
Newport.
I don't know who's doing Prescott Street, but I haven't seen them down there in a bit. I think it is McCabe, I'm not sure. But again, they've dug trenches there and all they do is fill them in with gravel. And they're coming up now.
Chair recognizes Councilor Marks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank President Caviello for putting this on the agenda. When we talk about Eversource, I think no one can refute that Winthrop Street was heavily impacted by all the construction over the last several years. And another street that comes to mind is South Street. South Street has really borne the brunt of not only Eversource, but other projects, Mr. President, over the last several years. And they deserve some peace and quiet on that street. So the quicker they can pave that area and give these residents a break, I'm all in support of that, Mr. President. So I would hope the administration gets a wind of this and immediately acts, Mr. President, before, as President Caviello mentioned, before the weather gets too inclement for any type of road pavement. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Scarpelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, who have we invited? I missed that, Mr. President. For the committee of the whole meeting, what departments are we asking, requesting again?
I would say we have the project manager from Eversource come down,
Right.
along with our city engineer and DPW.
Right. Again, I'm going to hop
And
on.
maybe our city solicitor to find out what our legal ramifications are. As I say, this project's gonna be going on for another 2 more years at the pace they're going, if not longer.
Right.
Find out what our
And I-
legal ramifications are. As I say, this project's gonna be going on for another 2 more years at the pace they're going, if not longer.
Right.
Find out what our legal ramifications are. As I say, this project's gonna be going on for another 2 more years at the pace they're going, if not longer. Find out what our legal ramifications are. As I say, this project's gonna be going on for another 2 more years at the pace they're going, if not longer. Find out what our legal ramifications are.
I can't stand outside. Stop it.
work your computer here. There you go. Probably in the chimney.
Okay, if we can, to go back to that, I think that it's important. I'm going to harp on this until we find some sort of resolution. I think it's important that we have a clerk of the works that's really reporting back to the city when we're talking about these huge inconvenience road work that's going on. Again, if we have someone there on site every day, something's going to get done. Something's going to be reported to the right people, because there's definitely a disconnect. And I think that who's paying the price up and down Winthrop Street, down to South Street. I know Council Mark said it, but you know, it's no different than the rattling of the plates. You know, I've talked to a few neighbors in Winchester, and I said, geez, I said, do you have the same concerns with the rattling of the plates? And they say, no, that was one of the first initiatives they talked to them about, making sure that every time they drop those plates, it was enough of a buffer to make sure that didn't happen. But you travel and traverse right over the line, and it seems like the slap in the face keeps coming back with these huge companies like Eversource and National Grid. So I appreciate the welcome that I think we need every department there that's possible, and we need to make sure that we have a watchdog moving forward that's representing the city, to make sure that everything that person will say from Eversource is held accountable. Because if you remember the first meeting we had at Eversource, remember everyone? The gentleman came up and he had a plan, and this is great. They're gonna put door signs, and everybody, this is my cell phone number. People can call me. Remember how great that was? I have yet to hear from that. That man disappeared. It was a figment of our imagination, because there has been no communication, no support from Eversource. And again, we know we had no power or control to allow them in. We heard that 1,000 times, but we also heard that we would get the support, and the people would have, somebody would hear a voice that when something needed to be done. And I'm just so disappointed. I'll say this to the end. This is what we hear every day: roads, sidewalks, and a lot has to do with our partnerships with Eversource and National Grid. So I'm pretty disgusted. And I appreciate Council President bringing this forward. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Council Pecco.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to thank President Caraviallo for bringing this resolution forward. I know I've been on the council for 6 years, and pretty much this started 6 years ago, and it still drags on today. And this needs to be addressed. These are quality of life issues that need to be addressed in every single day. The residents throughout the community are impacted, but especially the residents that live in and along that route of where the construction's taking place. I mean, if you take a look at the construction in surrounding communities, it's definitely been managed differently than it's been managed here. And I definitely would agree with President Caraviallo. There needs to be a meeting, committee, the whole meeting sooner than later on this. And I would ask that when the meeting is held, or when it's scheduled, if we could send a robocall to everyone that lives on this route. The residents need to be involved in this. And, their questions should be addressed. I think everyone wants to know, when is this finally going to be finished? The Eversource project is gonna last my tenure on the council. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. It's been going on for 6 years now. That's just unacceptable. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be managed. I don't think it's being managed properly. And I would ask that all of the residents along the route be notified of this meeting, so they can have their questions answered. And if we could schedule this as soon as possible, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Council Bears.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'll be as quick as I can on this, but I just want to drive home the point. When we're talking about the plates, when we're talking about the paving schedule, when we're talking about any of this, there were plates 300 yards up the street a year ago, and we said, can you make them not be so loud that people can't sleep at night? It's recurrent. We are going back. It's a recurring problem. I think Clerk of the Works is one potential answer here, and I'm totally supportive of that. But at this point, when we're asking them to do something over and over again, they go and do it, and then the next time they go out to do something similar and they don't follow that instruction again, I just want to ask you in the form of an amendment, is there any sort of recourse we have with the Department of Public Utilities, either for additional accountability on oversight from their end on projects like these, or specifically on the Eversource project? And is there any compensation that the city is entitled to, considering the impact that this has had, and what I would call the negligence of the contractor working for this company? Because basically, I think to Councilor Scarpelli's point, it doesn't feel like a very public to me, not so public utilities, in my opinion. These companies are just running roughshod and they're not accountable to the public. So if there's some recourse, either through additional accountability that the state can come down, I think it's an addition to whatever we can do as a city in the long run to get these projects working. And to be honest, I think, I'm sure that we're not entitled to compensation, but I'd at least like to ask because I think we deserve it. Thank you.
Yes, and if you look at like the Big Dig, for example, they had performance standards, right? Where they said, if you don't meet these benchmarks, then you're gonna pay us money. I think it might be time for us to start looking at the contracts that we're offering and seeing if that's an option that
They
we
don't
can
pay.
pursue.
Utility companies won't
Utilities
pay.
won't pay it, no.
We went through that with the state, with the Fast 14 project, with the bridge. They will not pay.
Riverside Ave.
Right. It won't give you anything.
On the motion by Councilor Caviello, as amended by Councilor Caviello, Councilor Falco, Councilor Scarpelli, and Councilor Bears. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Council paper 21613, offered by Councilor Marks. Be it resolved that a moment of silence be held for lifelong resident Robert Amari on his recent passing. Councilor Marks.
Thank you, Mr. President. What a life Mr. Amari led. He was a lifelong Medford resident. He was a graduate of Medford High School. He was the captain of the varsity football team at Medford High School. He was enlisted in the U.S. Army, achieving the rank of corporal, and was decorated for his service in the Korean War. Robert was a plumber by trade, and he also enjoyed a long career with the MBTA as a mechanics and maintenance supervisor. He was a devoted husband, father, grandfather, brother, and friend to many, Mr. President. He is survived by his wife, Frances, a sweetheart of a woman, his children, Joanne, Robert, Lisa, and Johnny Amari. Everyone knows Johnny Amari as the mayor of South Medford, and he truly is the mayor of South Medford, if you know Johnny. But, the Amaris are just a staple of this community, have been here for many decades, and they will be, Robert will be sorely missed, Mr. President. I would ask that we dedicate this meeting in his honor, Robert Amari from Stearns Ave, Mr. President. Thank you.
Oh, on the motion of Council Marks, seconded by Vice President Knight. All those in favor? Please rise for a moment of silence. Two one six one four. Offered by Vice President Knight, be it so resolved, the Medford City Council extends deep and sincere congratulations to Ralph and Loretta Evangelista on the momentous celebration of their 60th wedding anniversary. Vice President Knight.
Mr. President, yes, thank you very much. Just this past week, Ralph and Loretta celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. Many of us know Ralph and Loretta from being around the community, raising two lovely daughters, Lisa Evangelista and Julia Ann Evangelista. Many of us know Lisa from her work in the mayor's office and from her work up in the public schools. She's been dedicated to our community for close to 40 years. But that is nothing compared to the dedication that Ralph and Loretta have shown each other for the past 60, Mr. President. They're the cutest couple you'll ever see, two peas in a pod that you'll see go everywhere together. And it's great to see that they've been able to celebrate this momentous occasion. So with that being said, I'd ask my council colleagues to join me in congratulating them.
Thank you. And if I could speak, I've known Ralph and Loretta many, many years. Two great daughters, two great people, good friends of mine, and I want to wish them congratulations, 60 years of marriage. So, Council Falco.
Thank you, Council Knight, for bringing this forward. I just want to wish the Evangelistas a very happy anniversary and many more years to come. Congratulations.
Thank you. So on the motion by Vice President Knight, seconded by Councilor Falco. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 21616, offered by Vice President Knight, be it so resolved, the City Council hold a moment of silence in recognition of the sacrifices made by veterans in honor of Veterans Day. Vice President Knight.
Mr. President, thank you very much. As we're all aware, this Thursday is Veterans Day, 11/11. And it's also the, I believe, 246th birthday of the United States Marine Corps, if I'm not mistaken. But with that being said, Mr. President, Medford has a very strong veterans population. There's almost 2,000 veterans that reside in this community that at one point in their lives signed the dotted line and said, I'm going to do more for my country. I'm going to do more. And these individuals sacrificed, they spent time away from their family, they put themselves in harm's way. And some of them are fortunate enough to come back. And those are the people that we honor here on Veterans Day, Mr. President, all those who have served. So with that being said, I'd ask my council colleagues to support me in this resolution. I'd also like to offer that I've had conversations with Michael Durham down in the Veterans Office. I bumped into him just the other day at the Mets Donuts, where he was making a purchase of 300 donuts to distribute to veterans, Medford veterans on Veterans Day. So with that being said, Mr. President, for those veterans that are interested, please visit the Veteran Services website for more information. But there will be a celebration Thursday coming out of the Veteran Service Office to honor our veterans with donuts from the Mets.
Thank you. Any further discussion? So on the motion by Vice President Knight, seconded by Councilor Falco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Motion to revert back to regular business. Do we have anything else to discuss this evening while we're here? Hearing and seeing. Scott Pelley. 21543, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the redistricting, actually the re-precincting. Yeah, that's right. These were the on-site meetings, the 30th we did. So on the 21513, committee of the whole report, and like I said, this was the outdoor meeting. We're waiting for reports from the administration and the traffic engineer for North Carding in that area. So on the motion by Councilor Bears, seconded by Councilor Marks, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 21593, October 3rd, committee of the whole report. This was a committee of the whole report in regards to Brooks and Irving Street.
Second.
On the motion by Vice President Knight, seconded by Councilor Bears. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes. Please let me take a moment to congratulate the candidates on the re-election, and I want to congratulate our two new councilors, Councilor Tang and Councilor Collins. Look forward to seeing them here in the next couple of weeks to join in, and thank you for all the candidates who took the time out to run for the job. And I think we all know what a daunting task that is, to be in the campaign. So, and I just want to send good wishes out to everybody.
On that
So-
note, Mr. President, in common custom, we've always invited the newly elected councilors to come down and sit in the well or behind the rail to observe as we lead in to